slowly, just slowly. Yes, More water.
Jaya Giri Varadari Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. It's such an honor to be in an event like this where we are welcoming the greatest Lordship here. We can think of it like this. When we are welcoming a state dignitary, a president of a country to our home, how much of preparations go on and how fortunate we consider ourselves if a president of the country is coming to somebody's house. If you can just imagine. And just imagine, this is incomparable where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is coming home and we are welcoming the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, on behalf of all of us, would like to thank Yogan Prabhu and family for giving us this wonderful opportunity to be part of this wonderful event today. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna and his first expansion is Lord Balaram. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna and Lord Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Lord Balaram. And we get to know this through many of the Vedic scriptures like Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, But today we'll just take few verses just in English to see how it is confirmed that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna and Lord Nityananda Prabhu is Lord Balaram. So we'll read some verses. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 2, verse 9. He whom Srimad Bhagavatam describes as the son of Nanda Maharaj has descended to earth as Lord Chaitanya. This is from Adi Leela chapter 2 verse 22. That Govinda personally appears as Chaitanya Gosani. No other Lord is as merciful in delivering the fallen soul. So all these are verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita penned down by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, which confirms that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna. This is from Adi Leela chapter 2 verse 109. That same Lord Krishna, that fountainhead of all incarnations, is known as the son of King of Raja. He has descended personally as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one more from Adi Leela chapter 2 verse 120. The conclusion is that Lord Chaitanya is the supreme personality of Godhead, the son of King of Raja. So it is reiterated again and again throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita and other Vedic literatures, but we just went through some of the verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela. Now we'll take a couple of verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita which confirms that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna and Lord Nityananda Prabhu is Lord Balaram. This is from Adi Leela chapter 5. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Lord Balaram is his second body. In the 6th verse it says, that original Lord Krishna appeared in Navadvip as Lord Chaitanya and Balaram appeared with him as Lord Nityananda. So it's undoubtedly repeated again and again that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna and Lord Nityananda Prabhu is Lord Balaram. One more verse we'll read. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is from Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 156. Lord Chaitanya is the same Lord Krishna and Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram. Lord Nityananda fulfills all of Lord Chaitanya's desires. So what we see today here, the wonderful deity form of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so we'll sing a small verse actually. This is as we mentioned a few weeks ago in our temple, this verse is repeated 40 times in this book. This particular verse is repeated 40 times. So all of us should be able to memorize this verse or at least repeat it again. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Go Premanande. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahadido Gaudodiya Pushpavando Chitro Sando Tamonudo. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who have arisen like the sun and the moon simultaneously to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and to bestow all auspiciousness on us. Hare Krishna. So we just heard the verse that which glorifies Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And we also heard repeatedly that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not just an avatar, but he's an avatari. Avatari means he's the source of all incarnation because he's non-different from Krishna. So again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not just an avatar. Caitanya Mahaprabhu is avatari. Avatari means is the source of all avatars or incarnation. And we also heard that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, who or what is God? So we need to confirm that as to how do we know who is God or what is God. So anybody knows the answer? Who is God? So for that, we'll have to go back to our Vedic literature. Many of us would have heard the term Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is something that all of us, we may have heard this terminology, Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta, Veda Anta. Anta means the end. Some of you may have heard this. Anta in Sanskrit means end, just like the famous verse in the 8th chapter, the 5th verse, Anta Kale Cha Mameva. So at the end of one's life, if one thinks of Lord, and he will go back home, back to Godhead. So Vedanta means at the end of the Vedas or the conclusion of the Vedas. So they are all in this form of aphorisms. Sutras means one-line aphorisms. So it's called as Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra. And as long as all of you can hear, that is fine. All of you can hear, right? Yes. So the offering is going on, so if you don't mind. So Vedanta Sutra means what is the conclusion of the Vedas that is mentioned in this form of sutras or aphorisms. Janmadasya Yata. So that is the second aphorism. And Srila Prabhupada has quoted this particular aphorism very often. It's a little bit difficult for us to understand this Vedanta Sutras, the Sutras, and that's why each one of these Vaishnava Sampradayas have come up with their own commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra so that it is clear for the devotees who are reading that. So Sri Sampradaya has come up with Sri Bhashya. Sri Ramanujacharya has penned down this. So Vedanta Sutras are not very easily understandable. That's why we have Sarvagya Bhashya and different Bhashyas or the commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has taught us that the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. So, who is God? In Vedanta Sutra it is said, Janmadasya Yata. Janmadasya Yata means he is the source of everything. Now, if you get this, if you take this definition and go to your school or college, and if you talk to anybody who are from different religious beliefs, if you go to a Christian or a pious Muslim, and when you say God is one who's the source of everything, they will not dispute that because it's very, very obvious. Janmadasya Yata means Lord or the God is the source of everything. It's undeniable fact that God is the source of everything. And that is in this Vedanta Sutra. Then, if we refer to Brahma Samhita, that was spoken how many years ago? Anybody remembers Brahma Samhita? How many years ago? We spoke about this few days in our temple. 155 trillion years ago. Now, how do we know it's 155 trillion years ago? That is because it was spoken by Brahma at the dawn of the creation when he just appeared, and he is now over 50 years old. Our Brahma is over 50 years old. His total lifespan is 311 trillion and 40 billion years. So he's just passed his 50 years. So it is 155 trillion years ago that this Brahma Samhita was spoken, and according to that it is said Sarva Karana Karanam. So the Supreme Lord is Sarva Karana Karanam. That means he is the cause of all causes. So you again go to your school or college, and if you talk to some Christian or Muslim or Jew and you tell them God is somebody who's the source of everything, God is someone who's the cause of all causes, is undeniable. They'll definitely agree to that fact. So God means he's the source of everything. He's the cause of all causes. And one thing which we want to repeat again and again today is that God is greater than all of his creations. So all of us can repeat this wonderful sentence. You can repeat together with me. God is greater than all of his creation. Once more. God is greater than all of his creation. What does that mean? So if you think of the most wealthiest billionaire, most richest and wealthiest billionaire on earth, he's created by God based on his karma. And the wealth of God is incomparable to this wealth of this billionaire. For us, it is relative. We may think this billionaire has got, but when you compare to the wealth that the Lord possesses, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Matta Sarva Pravartate, Lord possesses all of the material world, all of the spiritual world, Sarva Loka Maheswaram, he owns everything, all the planets owned by all the demigods. He's the ultimate owner of everything. So just imagine, the vastness of material world. Unfortunately, few months ago, there was this Malaysian Airlines plane, MH370, that went down in, potentially, they say it's into the Indian Ocean. Everybody's heard that? Yes. Now, as you know, they have the latest equipments and gadgets called Bluefin 21 and everything else, but still they are unable to find out where this plane is because of the depth of Indian Ocean. It's few miles deep and potentially it's there, but they can't because the ocean is so vast, and that is just one ocean, which is Indian Ocean. Just imagine there are so many other oceans, Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, all these are just in the world that we know. Then we have other planetary system, higher planetary system, all of them in the universe. Just one Indian Ocean, that few square miles they cannot search because of the depth of Indian Ocean. And just imagine if we have to buy a swimming pool, how expensive it is. And Krishna owns all the biggest swimming pools like Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, all these oceans he owns. So when it comes to the wealth, all the richest billionaires are nobody compared to the wealth that the Lord possesses. The strength, we can think of the strength. We are stronger than an ant. Everybody agrees? We are very, very stronger compared to an ant. And an elephant is so strong compared to us. But you can think of natural events like a hurricane or tornado or forest fire is so powerful that a tornado or a hurricane can carry this elephant and throw many feet away, right? So right now there is a raging forest fire in San Diego. Some of you may have heard about it. Thousands of kilometers are affected. All the trees and the houses and everything is getting destroyed. Nobody is able to stop it. They are just hoping and praying that there will be rain, heavy rain that will stop this fire from continuing to spread. So the fire is so powerful. But for those of you who joined us for the Mother's Day celebration in our temple last Sunday, you saw a small video clip of Krishna, the wonderful animated Krishna there. There, do you remember Krishna swallowing the forest fire? So Krishna can very easily swallow the greatest forest fire because God is greater than all of his creation. If fire is so powerful, God is more powerful than the fire. Talk about the hurricane or tornado. There was Katrina a few years ago. That is devastatingly powerful. But when you think about it, the Lord is greater than the greatest of tornado because we know about Trinavarta. Trinavarta was a whirlwind demon that we read from the 10th canto. It is so powerful, but the Lord destroyed the greatest of hurricanes and tornado. So God is greater than the creation. So power of Lord is incomparable to the greatest power that can be on earth. Fame, we may know about all the famous Hollywood and Bollywood stars, but if you can think about it, they're all famous for a short period of time. And they may be famous in North America, but they may not be famous in Ethiopia or Somalia. So their fame is only short-lived, and that too in one particular area. But as we just heard, Brahma Samhita was spoken 155 trillion years ago. So the Lord is famous eternally. So when it comes to fame, nobody can be as famous as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What about beauty? So we can see in material world there are so many beautiful things, but Krishna says all these beautiful things are just a spark of his splendor. So you can think of anything that is beautiful in material world. It can be Niagara Falls or anything, but they're just a spark, tiny spark of his splendor. And the Vedic literature confirms not only that the Lord is beautiful, but also gives detailed explanation about the God's personal features, the God's The Supreme Lord's eyes are like lotus petals. The nose is like sesame flower. The lips is like bimba fruit. The teeth is like pomegranate seeds. So beautiful description of Lord Krishna is given. So nobody can be as beautiful as Lord Krishna. What about knowledge? We may know about wonderful scientists. We hear about wonderful scientists. They discover wonderful planes, wonderful submarines. Now when you think about it, Lord Krishna is creating millions and millions and millions of aeroplanes every second. Can you think of it? Can you think of some examples? All the flies, all the birds, they're all natural aeroplanes. They're conscious aeroplanes. Millions and zillions of them in different colors, different forms, different weight, size, everything. Millions and millions of aeroplanes that are going there. Now you can think of an ant in Lord's creation. Scientists can't even create an ant, as you know. Now an ant can be in this biggest palace, say Buckingham Palace. In a small hole, this ant lives with his family and his relatives. He comes out of this hole and he strolls around, and in spite of the vastness of the palace, he knows where the small hole is, his home is. And in thousands of ants are there, that particular ant knows who his son is, who the daughter is, who the wife is, very clearly. That is the beauty of Lord's creation. Submarines, wonderful submarines. When you think about it, all the sharks and whales and dolphins are conscious submarines that can navigate through the water, underneath the water, many miles deep. Now this bluefin can probably go up to 2 miles only, but all these sharks and whales and dolphins can go much below and they can survive without any problem. No aid of any scientist to maneuver that around. So when it comes to God's creation, God is way greater, incomparable to the greatest of creations of the Lord. What about sun? Sun is also a wonderful creation of the Lord. Sun is all pervasive, right? You can see the sun in Mexico, you can see the sun in India, you can see the sun in Australia. If sun is all pervasive, God is greater than his creation. Krishna is omnipotent. He's there in the heart of everyone. He's present in the atom, every atom. So Lord is present everywhere. And there are great personalities who are very compassionate, who are very merciful. They always pardon us. When we make a mistake, they give us a break. Okay, that's okay, you made a mistake. Now Krishna, how merciful Lord Krishna is. He gives us 8.4 million chances. So many species of life is there. Again and again and again, we make mistakes. We continue again and again so that we perfect ourselves, so that we go back home, back to Godhead. But there is a warning that it is said, do not make the same mistake the second time. Say no to reincarnation. Right? Do not make the same mistake again. Say no to reincarnation. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu appeared just to deliver us from this cycle of birth and death, so that we go back home, back to Godhead. So we have these wonderful deities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. We are welcoming them today, and they're called as Archa Vigraha. So the deities are called as Archa Vigrahas. Now the deities are the sanctified form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are all made according to Shilpa Shastras. That means it's not that somebody thinks, okay, this is how God is going to be, let me make it that way. No, these are all bona fide forms of the Lord made according to Shilpa Shastras. So what you see is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu were looking like. So it's exactly the same. There's no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu and the deities that we see here. Now, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is teaching Uddhava as to the different forms that this deity appears in. So there are 8 different varieties of forms in which the deity form appears. And what are they? One is sand. The deity can appear in the form of a sand, in the form of soil, in the form of metal, in the form of earth, in the form of wood like Lord Jagannath, then in the form of jewel, in the form of paint, and in the form of mind. So even in the mind you can form the deity. So these are all the 8 varieties in which the deity form is manifested. Now some of you may think, all these are material forms, but the Supreme Lord is spiritual. So these are all material forms, because even mind is actually subtle but it's material form, just like sand and earth and mineral and paint. So you may be wondering, the deity or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is spiritual. How come the Lord is manifesting in material things? That's a logical question that can be asked by somebody. Now our acharyas explain the reason is, just like we cannot perceive the soul, all of us have a soul, but because we are covered by this material body, we are unable to perceive the presence of the soul, but we can perceive the presence of the soul only through the symptoms of the soul, and that is the consciousness. So therefore, because we are covered with this material body, we cannot perceive anything spiritual. So the Lord is so merciful that the Lord is actually manifesting in the form of matter. So the Lord is manifesting in the form of matter so that we can reciprocate with the Lord. So that is the reason why the Lord is manifesting in these 8 forms, because we cannot perceive something that is spiritual. So we can only perceive something that is material. Therefore, the Lord is so merciful that the Lordship appears in this form of metal or wood or the material things. But now, for the Lord, there is no difference between material and spiritual. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining, when there is a wall outlet there, so there is electricity coming there. Now this electricity, when it goes through the heater, it becomes, you get hot air. When the same electricity goes through an air condition, you get AC. So in summer you get AC, in winter you switch on the heater. It's not that there are 2 separate electricities that are coming, one hot electricity going to the heater, cold electricity going to the air condition. So it is just one electricity that is coming, which is manifesting in different ways, as heat and as cold. So similarly, for Lord, the energy of the Lord is all spiritual, but then it is manifesting as material energy and spiritual energy. So the Lord converts the material energy into spiritual energy when he appears in this form of the deities. So, and Srila Prabhupada also explains, why do we have to worship the deities? It's like the authorized post box. Now all of you, I know in this day and age there's more email than actual mailing of letters, but then how do you post a letter? You go to a mailbox, correct? Yes? So you go to a mailbox, it has to be an authorized mailbox from the post office that is there for you to put the thank you. So there should be an authorized post box for us to put the check or whatever we put in, so that it goes to the correct location, correct destination. If you go and put it in some other box, it's not going to go to the destination. So therefore, like that, the deities are authorized form of the Lord, so that he can offer our worship, offer our prayer, and it goes to where it has to go. But we should not think the deities are different from the Lord. It's not that it's a via medium, because in Padma Purana it is said, Nama Chintamani Krishna Caitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Suddho Nityamukto Vinatvan Nama Nami. The name of the Lord, form of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord, everything is the same. So when we chant the name Hare Krishna, that means we are directly in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, so that's a little bit introduction. I would like to read one more wonderful verse. This is needed for each one of us. Every day, this verse gives us the confidence to take on life with both hands. So would you like to hear this wonderful verse? So this is just a translation of this wonderful verse. You may have heard this, but this is something for all of us to meditate upon, whether we are devotees, non-devotees, newcomers, seasoned devotees. It's one of the most important verses that gives us confidence to take on this material world. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So again, I'm going to repeat this first part of this verse. Things that are very difficult to do becomes easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become difficult, very difficult. Even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Now, all of us have problems. I don't need to ask you a question. Please raise your hand if you have a problem. All of us have problems. It's relative problem. So some of my problems may not be as a big problem for you, but all of us have a problem. Grade 6 boy will have a problem with his math, but grade 10 boy may not have a problem with the same math, but he will have a problem with his own subject. Same thing, somebody who's studying PhD will have problems with this subject, but eventually for the Lord there is no problem. All the problems that we have is nothing for the Supreme Personality of God. All the Brajvasis were struggling when these pillars of rain were pouring. Lord Krishna, when he was 7 years old, effortlessly lifted this mountain and saved everybody. So for the Lord, all our problems are insignificant problems. So when we have a problem, all we have to do is think of the Lord and all our problems will go away. So we have problems, others have problems. So it is said Paradukha Dukhi means one whose problem is other person's problem. Paradukha Dukhi is one, he's always happy, but when somebody is having problem, he takes that problem upon himself and he tries to fix that. So that is the highest form of devotion, Paradukha Dukhi. Somebody's problem is my problem. Somebody's happiness is my happiness. When somebody is happy, this person is happy. When somebody is sad, this person is sad and tries to solve it. So anybody having any problem, we have to go to, all we have to do is remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To illustrate this, I would like to narrate a small story with your kind permission. In a farmyard, there was a house. Through the tiny crack of that house, there is a mouse or yeli. That mouse is seeing through the tiny crack of the house the farmer and his wife opening up a package. They got a new package and they are opening. This mouse is extremely happy, mouth watering. Wow, something good food they have got. Tonight I am going to have a wonderful time here.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. So the husband and wife are opening pack after pack after pack. Finally, it is the dreaded mouse trap. So the farmer and the wife have bought the mouse trap to kill the mouse. So this mouse is shattered, disappointed. So the mouse turns back and runs to the farmyard to all his friends. The first friend he meets is a chicken. My dear chicken, there is a mouse trap in the house. There is a mouse trap in the house. He's so concerned, the mouse. What does the chicken do? Scratching his neck with the leg. I'm sorry, this is your problem. I have nothing to do with this. I have to go eat some worms. You know, in that corner there are a lot of worms. I have to go, goodbye. And the chicken goes away. So this mouse runs next to a pig. My dear pig, there is a mouse trap in the house. There is a mouse trap in the house. The pig yawns. You know, yesterday there was big rain. There's a nice slush there. You know, I like to roll in the mud, wet mud. I have to go. Goodbye. Good luck to you. I have to go. So this mouse is expecting some of his friends to help him with this big problem, but nobody cares. Finally, this mouse goes to a cow. My dear cow, there is a mouse trap in the house. There is a mouse trap in the house, please sir. And the cow says, it does not take a skin off my nose. That means, you know, it does not bother me at all. Mouse trap and me, can the mouse trap catch me? See my size of the leg. It's your problem, deal with your problem. So the mouse is so disappointed, puts his head down, walks back to his home because that's where he lives and that's where the mouse trap is going to be laid out. And then he's so disappointed, dejected, not knowing what to do. His friends have let him down, not willing to help him. Maybe they cannot help, but in this case, let's assume that they did not want to help him. And in the same night, there is this dreaded sound of the mouse trap. There is a sound that something got trapped in this mouse trap. So it's so dark, the wife of the farmer runs in the night with a big smile in her face. That first night itself, she got what she wanted and this mouse has got caught. She runs. It's dark, but she did not know that a snake has got caught there, but the tail of the snake got caught in this mouse trap. So because when the snake was going, the tail moves and it got caught in the snake, in the mouse trap. But it's a long snake and the poison is very venomous snake. So it's so long and this lady came. She did not know, she did not expect the snake to be there. Boom, one big bite in the lady's leg. And she starts screaming and shouting, and then the husband comes, puts the light on, and then immediately they take her to the hospital, and then after a few days she's struggling there, and finally she's okay, but she's got heavy fever. But they bring her back home, and these are non-devotees, so please bear with me as to what you're going to hear in the next few minutes. So it's common in some community that when somebody's got a lot of fever, they need to take chicken soup. And what does this farmer do? He looks at the chicken, takes the chicken, boom, gives chicken soup. Next, then this lady is still struggling, and she's slightly getting better, but it also gets worse progressively. Then this husband is very, very worried. So what he does, he calls all his relatives and friends. I'm not sure what's going to happen. My wife, please come. Please. All of them are coming. Now many people are there. He's not going to the farmyard to do anything. So now all of them have to eat. Now he looks at the pig, slaughters the pig, feeds everybody. After a few days, progressively she gets bad, finally she dies. Now he has to call in more of his relatives and friends, all of them come. Now everybody is hungry, what does he do? Looks at the cow, slaughters, feeds everybody. Now, all this is sadly seen by this mouse through the crack in the wall. He's seeing all this is unfolding through the crack in the wall. Now, the original problem was for the mouse trap. And chicken said it's not my problem. Pig said it's not my problem. Cow said it's not his problem. Now, whose problem it became? The mouse was there to get caught, but the mouse did not get caught, but the chicken is dead, mouse is alive, chicken is dead, pig is dead, and the cow is dead. So, we cannot assume that if somebody's got a problem, it's not my problem, it's your problem. If somebody's saying, my relative is sick, please chant for them. We have to empathize with them, we have to sympathize with them, because it will have an effect on us at some point. Because we are all different threads in the tapestry of the other person's life. We are all intertwined together. And some of you who are science students would have heard about butterfly effect. Have you heard about butterfly effect? It is said, maybe Prabhu would have heard. So it is said that when a butterfly flaps its wing,
make it lower.
When the butterfly flaps its wing in one part of the world, there is hurricane created in the other end of the world. Have you heard this? When butterfly flaps its wing in one end of the world, in one part of the world, there is hurricane created in another end of the world. It does not mean that the wind is progressively increasing and causing this tornado or hurricane, but it's non-linear events. Something as insignificant that takes place in one end of the world, one part of the world, becomes a big major event in another part of the world. So we cannot assume that somebody's problem is not concerning me. We know about this avalanche effect. Avalanche effect is, all these snowflakes fall on this mountain. They're so insignificant. But in due course of time, what happens to these snowflakes? It gathers more snowflakes, become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it becomes an avalanche. And we also know about this dominoes effect. Dominoes effect is more linear. When you hit that, the cards go and finally hit this card, which is many, many feet away. So, anybody's problem becomes our problem. So what we try to understand from this particular verse is that any problem that we may have, who do we go to? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We don't even need to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All we have to do is remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all our problems will go away. Not only our problems, if others have a problem, we pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's the most merciful incarnation of the Lord. Now, the next question is, what about, so this is one more wonderful saying by Pillai Lokacharya. Pillai Lokacharya is a great Vaishnava saint, and what he prayed was, the Supreme Lord is infinite, but in the deity form, the Supreme Lord becomes finite. The Supreme Lord is totally independent, but in the deity form, the Lordship becomes dependent for the service of the devotees, for the reciprocation. This is the wonderful greatness, the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this deity form, so that we can perform service, perform devotional service, so that we can go back home, back to Godhead. Now, believers, it is said, need no reason to believe that the Lord is in this deity form, but non-believers accept no reason even when we give any reason, right? So today we'll hear, in the time that is left, we'll hear some of the glorious pastimes of the Lord who reciprocated in this form of deity, so that we also have this connection with the deities. And more of a connection that we can have with the deities is when we hear wonderful pastimes of the Lord in this deity form. So with your kind permission, I would like to narrate a Adhyatma Ramayan. Has anybody heard Adhyatma Ramayan? Prabhu has heard that. So there are different forms of Ramayan, like Valmiki Ramayan, Kamba Ramayan. So this Adhyatma Ramayan is from Brahmanda Puran, and this is a conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati. And there are few differences, not that I've read everything, but then definitely it's available in internet, you can read. There are quite a few significant differences between Valmiki Ramayan and Kamba Ramayanam, and also mainly what we talk about is Adhyatma Ramayan. So Adhyatma Ramayan, here it is said that Lord Ram appeared in the form of Vishnu, in the form of, with 4 arms. When he appeared itself, he appeared in the form of Lord Vishnu. And also there is wonderful description of this Maya Sita, how she was the one who was abducted by Ravan. And also Valmiki's inglorious past, sage Valmiki's inglorious past is explained very well in this Adhyatma Ramayan. And also it is said in the end, when Ravan was killed, his soul entered into the body of Lord Ram. So these are some of the differences. Many differences are there, but in a nutshell it portrays Lord Ram as the supreme personality of Godhead right from the very beginning. Unlike Valmiki Ramayan, where it is said that he's like an ideal king and then accepts the divinity. So here in Adhyatma Ramayan, once there was a Brahmin. This Brahmin used to drink water and eat food only when he saw Lord Ram. Otherwise he'll never drink even a drop of water. Once Lord Ram went out of the city for 9 days. For 9 full days, this Brahmin did not even drink a drop of water. So Lord Ram came, and he came to know that this Brahmin did not even drink a drop of water. Immediately what he did was he called Lord Lakshman. Lord Lakshman, please hand over the deities of Lord Ram, which is Lord Ram and Mother Sita. Is that the mousetrap? So, please give the deity of Lord Ram, which is myself, and Mother Sita to this Brahmin. So what does that mean? Lord Ram is there physically present, and he's saying, this Brahmin does not drink a drop of water if he does not see me, but give him the deity of myself, and that is not different from me, so that he can honor the prasadam every day. So that's wonderful instruction for all of us. So Lord Ram asked Lakshman to give this deity form of Lord Ram and Mother Sita to this Brahmin, so that every day he can honor his prasadam, because he's seeing the Lord directly. Now after many years of service, this Brahmin gives these deities of Lord Ram and Sita Devi to Hanumanji. When he's about to die, when this Brahmin was about to die, he gave the deities to Hanumanji. And now Hanumanji prayed to this deity with so much of love and devotion. Even though Lord Ram is there, physically there, he still wore it in his neck, and he was offering so much of worship, love and devotion to Lord Ram and Mother Sita. To the deity form, again we are talking about the deities are non-different from the Lordship, and here these great personalities are worshipping the deity forms, not just in the last 5,000 years. These are in different yugas, but you'll be more startled when you hear this. So just before we continue, after what happened after Hanumanji was offering worship, this deity form of Lord Ram and Mother Sita, before Lord Lakshman, who was praying to them? Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku is the son of Vaivaswata Manu. And Ikshvaku, between Ikshvaku and Lord Ram. So Lord Ram appeared later on, but Ikshvaku appeared way before Ram. 34 generations before Lord Ram, Ikshvaku appeared. Is that not startling? Even though Ram did not appear, Ikshvaku was the deity of Lord Ram and Mother Sita. How is it possible? Ram Lord Ram did not appear. He's appearing after 34 generations. It's not 3,400 years because, people, they were living for many, many thousands of years in those days. It's not like Kali Yuga 100. So 34 generations means many, many hundreds and thousands of years in between. How come Ikshvaku had the deity of Lord Ram and Mother Sita even before Lord Ram can appear? So everything happens in a cyclic way. It's all transcendental. This was from the previous yuga of Lord Ram. This deity was being worshipped by Ikshvaku. And later on it was handed over to Lord Lakshman. And Lakshman to this Brahmin. Brahmin to Hanumanji who was praying to this. And then before Hanumanji went to Gandhamadana mountain, he gave it to Bhima. And Bhima gave it to Shemakanta. And Shemakanta, who was the king, gave it to the king of Orissas. Anybody remembers the name of king of Orissas? Gajapatis, they are called. So it was given to Gajapatis. And finally, it was given to Narahari Tirtha, who comes in the line of Madhvacharya. And 3 months before Madhvacharya can disappear, the same deities were actually installed in Udupi temple. So that's the glory of the deity form of worship. So again, we're welcoming the deities to Yogan Prabhu's home today. They're non-different from the Lordship. And this deity worship is ageless. It's not that something that was going on in Kali Yuga, started in Kali Yuga. This is ageless, where this was being worshipped in the time of Ikshvaku, which was from the previous incarnation of Lord Ram. So it's just startling. Now, what we can do is, so you may say, this is a pastime from many, 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 many years ago, thousands and millions of years ago. Is there any wonderful pastime about the deity form of the Lord from recent time? Do you want to hear one wonderful pastime from a very, very recent time? Hare Krishna. So, how many of you have been to Vrindavan? Quite a few of you. How many of you have been to Banke Bihari temple in Vrindavan? Little less than all of you who went to Vrindavan, but quite a few of you still. Now this Banke Bihari temple is one of the most popular temples in Vrindavan. They open the curtain and close the curtain very often. Beautiful deity. Now this is a true incident that had happened. This was, I'm not sure exactly how many years ago, maybe about 15-20 years ago. So it's not millions of years ago. So there was an old lady who's in an old hut in the Parikrama path. So when devotees go around Govardhan Parikrama, so the devotees used to see this lady every day when they go around the Parikrama. Very old lady, so blissful, always smiling, very old hut she's living in, very few utensils are there for her to cook, offer and eat, very 1 or 2 pairs of whatever dress that she can wear, sari that she can wear, and she's always chanting, she's always singing in her hut, and always giving this nectarian, sweet, cold water to the devotees who are going around the Parikrama. So this every day was going on. And her daily routine is she'll go to Banke Bihari temple, and then she will perform wonderful kirtan there. She'll dance in front of the deities, and sometimes people can see that she sits in one corner, puts her head down, and tears roll from her eyes all the time, and she goes back. So this is a routine, but nobody knows where she's coming from, who she is, nobody knows. And one of the Goswamis means they are one of the priests in Banke Bihari temple. So he decided that he wants to talk to this lady, because how come she's so blissful and she's able to do this day after day after day? So one day he goes around Govardhan Parikrama, and then he stops in her hut, and he says, can I have some water? So she blissfully gives him this wonderful nectarian sweet ice cold water, and he drinks that, and he asks, Mother, can I ask you, can you please tell me where are you from, a little bit more about you, because we're so fascinated by your devotion. And then for the first time, this old lady speaks, and she said that she is from Aligarh. Aligarh is about 70 kilometers from Mathura, and it is in UP as well. And she said that her father's name was Gopal Das, and he was a school teacher, and she had, of course, mother, and she had 2 younger brothers. So in a family of total of 5 members, there were 3 children. She was the eldest of the sibling, and she had 2 younger brothers. And they had wonderful content lifestyle. Father was wonderful teacher. Everything was going okay. Then it came for the time of marriage for the daughter. And in those days, there's so much of dowry that needs to be given. There's so much of jewelry needs to be purchased, dress and marriage hall and food. It's so expensive. When it came to the time of marriage, this particular person, this father, was really, really worried and bothered because he did not have enough money. He did not expect that it's going to be so expensive for him to conduct this marriage ceremony for his daughter. So far, everybody's following?
Yes.
So he goes and asks all his friends. He's a school teacher, very reputed person. He goes and asks all his friends. He's so confident that his friends will give him the money. It's only for his daughter, his friend's daughter. He goes to his friends, my dear friends, my daughter is getting married, as you know. I need this much of money. If you give me, I will repay you back. Everybody started giving an excuse, some form or the other, because they were not sure that he's going to return the money. So they said, I'm sorry, we cannot give you the money. He's totally shattered, dejected that none of his friends who would depend. It said the friend in need is a friend indeed, but here they are not friend at all. So he does not know what to do. There's only 5 more days for the wedding. And his wife is not sure what's going to happen, whether this wedding is going to take place or not. 5 days before the wedding, Gopal Das comes with expensive jewelries, expensive dresses. Everything is arranged, he comes. And the wife and the daughter asked, how did you manage all these things? How did you manage? Then he said, I got it by mortgaging the house to Lakshmi Chand. This Lakshmi Chand is a crook number 1, is a fraud number 1. So hell broke loose in the house. Why did you do this, father? He's going to take away the house. Even if you pay so much of interest to the money that you borrowed, he's going to take away the ancestral house. It's a palatial house. That's the only thing he had. They're going to take everything. But he said, I have no choice. I had no choice. This is the only way to get money to get your marriage done. So he was left with no choice. Then the marriage took place wonderfully well. And for the next 4 to 5 months, Gopal Das worked so hard. He did so much of tuition in the day, night, other than his job. And miraculously, he was able to pay off all the debt that he had taken from this bad person, Lakshmi Chand. And he was able to pay everything. And he's such a pure-hearted person. He did not feel there was a need to get the receipt every time he paid the money. So he was a very kind-hearted person. He trusted him. So no receipt, there's no evidence for the money that he had paid at all. Then it's a custom in India, after the daughter is married, they all go to Ganges and take bath. So somehow with little money that was left, Gopal Das and his wife, they go to Ganges and then they take bath and then they come back. When they came back, there was a shocking letter waiting for him. It was a letter which said, you have not paid even 1 rupee towards the loan that you got from me. Lakshmi Chanda sent a letter. We are going to confiscate your house. You have to vacate the house in 3 weeks' time. So he fainted and he fell down. He could not believe what he just saw. And he again goes to his friends. My dear friends, I paid all the money to this man. You friends refused to give me any money. But somehow I got the money from him. So much interest had to be paid. I worked day and night and I gave him the money. Now he's saying, I never paid anything. Can you please help me? No, you never took us as witness. So we can't come and do any help. We can't help you. That's it. So what can he do? He's walking like a madman here and there. Then he decided, let me go to Lakshmi Chand himself and tell him that this is not right. He goes to him. This Lakshmi Chand welcomes him. Even falls at his feet. Gives him tea and biscuit. Please come, sir. What did you do, Lakshmi Chand? I paid you all the money. Now I got this letter. Is it by mistake it was sent to me someone else? No. I want your ancestral house. I don't even mind paying you the money that you gave me for the 4 months. But I need the house. So that is a very tiny portion of the value of the house. He said, no, I'm going to take that. If you do not agree to what I'm saying, then I'm going to have my crooked lawyers fight it out in the court and you have no choice. You don't have money, nothing, you cannot fight it out. So he's dejected, he's walking like a madman here and there. There is a bus that is coming. He got onto the bus not knowing where this bus is going, and his luck is this bus is going for the swing festival to Brindavan. From Aligarh, it is going to Brindavan. And he does not even have money. And then fortunately, the conductor of the bus is his ex-student. And he says,
my dear sir, it's so fortunate that I'm seeing you. How are you doing? And then finally he tells him what had happened. Then the conductor of the bus gives him all these wonderful pastimes of Banke Bihari deity, the reciprocation of the Lord with other devotees. And also he gives a personal experience, real story that had happened. He said, my dear teacher, I was penniless and I was praying to Banke Bihari, and fortunately my aunt, who's so rich, spotted me on the road wandering around, and she made me the manager of this transportation company. I am like a conductor here, but I am a manager of all these so many X number of buses. So powerful is Banke Bihari. I want you to come to Banke Bihari. I will take you to the Lord, and Lord will take care of all your problems. So the bus stops in Vrindavan for 2 hours. As the bus went from Aligarh, 2 hours, this Gopal Das prayed to Banke Bihari from his heart, and immediately he can feel all his problems were flowing away like a river. All his problems were flowing away like a river. And he was so relieved and so happy after he saw the Lord, the deity form of the Lord, Banke Bihari. And then he took the bus back home and then he went back to Aligarh. And there's a immaculate transformation in his mood and everything else. Daughter and the sons and the wife are saying, how come he's so happy? He's so relieved. He does not have money to repay, more money to give Lakshmi Chand, but he's so happy. Then he does not tell his family what had happened. Immediately he starts sending a reply to Lakshmi Chand and he said, I am not vacating this house because I have paid all the money to you which is due to you with interest. You can do whatever you want, I am not vacating. So as soon as this letter reaches Lakshmi Chand, he is so furious. This man, he's got so much of guts to fight against me. I have all these crooked lawyers who make the right wrong and the wrong right. And it's very easy to take care of this person. So he files a case in the court. And then in due course, there is a court notice that is sent to Gopal Das. Everybody following so far? Yeah. Is reaching a crescendo now. So this court notice goes to Gopal Das. And Gopal Das is not scared this time when he saw. The first time when he saw that his house is going to be confiscated, he collapsed. Right now he's got this confidence after seeing and feeling the presence of Banke Bihari. He was so elated as though an invitation has come. So this court notice to appear in the court is like an invitation for him. And he's so happy and he's ready to go and face the court. But before that, he again goes to Banke Bihari. And then he sleeps outside the temple that night and Banke Bihari comes in his dream. Do not worry, I will come as a witness to you. So the deity form of the Lord said, I will come as a witness to you. And then he comes back smiling and happy and he goes to the court. And then here he has to, so in the court they are asking, do you have evidence? So the judge knows that this Lakshmi Chand is a corrupt person and this Gopal Das, the teacher, is a very nice person. But the judge cannot rule anything in favor of him without evidence. So he's asking Gopal Das, can you give me the evidence that you have paid him the money? So he's saying, I don't have any evidence because we had this mutual trust that I did not ask him for any receipt. But do you know how much you paid to him? Then he takes a list and says, yes, on this day I paid this much. This day I paid this much. So Gopal Das is saying, this is what I paid. Now the judge is asking Lakshmi Chand, you tell me what is the evidence that you have? Yes, I have evidence here. 0 rupees that he's paid to me. So now the judge also does not know what to do. Then he asks this person, Gopal Das, do you have any evidence that you gave the money? You are saying you paid. He's saying you didn't pay. So I need an evidence. Then Gopal Das says, yes, I have evidence, and that is Banke Bihari. The Lord is the evidence. Who was there? Because he's there as an evidence, as Paramatma in everybody's heart, and he's already reciprocated with the deity form of Banke Bihari, and the Lord is going to come and give him evidence. He said, yes, I have evidence, and his name is Banke Bihari. So in the court, they are taking down the name. Okay, you have evidence? Yes, my evidence, that person's name is Banke Bihari. How do you spell it? B-A-N-K-E Bihari. Okay, what is his address? Vrindavan, India. So what they do is they give a court notice to be sent to this Banke Bihari. So there is a person who carries this court notice and he goes and he's looking, who's Banke Bihari, who's Banke Bihari. He come to Vrindavan, it's only a few hours from there. And then there is this blackish blue boy, you know who it is. He comes there and he says, you're looking for Banke Bihari? This is a court notice? Okay, hang it in the temple wall and he will come as a witness, don't worry. So this man hangs it in the court, in the temple wall, and he goes away. And the actual court date appears. And then Gopal Das is there. The corrupt Lakshmi Chand is there. and the court case is starting. So the judge is saying, okay, I have seen your evidence, this evidence. Now it will be clinched in the form of evidence given by the person who was witnessing all the money transaction. So he asked the court person, okay, call for the witness to come. So he's calling out, Banke Bihari. 3 times they call, right? Banke Bihari, Banke Bihari. Twice he called, there is no news, there's no Banke Bihari. Now, Gopal Das is still confident that Banke Bihari will come to give the witness, but he's still not there. Just before he can complete the 3rd time, Banke Bihari, there is a man who's running inside the court, and he's saying, yes, I'm Banke Bihari, I'm Banke Bihari, but he's got a blanket. He's got a blanket that is covering him, and he's running towards the place where the witness have to come. And then it's covered, nobody can see the face. Then the judge is the only one who's facing him and facing this witness. And he says, okay, can you move your blanket? And then he slowly moves the blanket, and immediately the judge collapses. As soon as he sees the face, the judge collapses. Because of the beauty of Banke Bihari, and his pen drops down and his hands are collapsing. Then they sprinkle some water on his face. He comes back to consciousness, and he knows who it is. Others cannot see. And then he is so excited, and he's got all forms of ecstasy, and he says, okay, can you please confirm where you are witness to this? Then Banke Bihari says, yes, I was the witness to each and every transaction of Gopal Das to this corrupt Lakshmi Chand. On this day he paid this. On this day it perfectly corroborates with what Gopal Das had given. On this day this much money. This day this much money. So everything was totally paid. But more than that. So Banke Bihari says, the same transaction was actually entered by this corrupt Lakshmi Chand in a yellow file. Because in front of him every day when he was giving, he had written it down. But when he came to the court, he took some other book and said, you see, zero rupees, right? So here Banke Bihari is saying, Banke Bihari ji is saying, when you go to his office, where he sits, here Lakshmi Chand is sitting, on top right hand side, there is an almirah. On that almirah, there is a yellow file, and in that yellow file, every transaction, what I just mentioned, is written down by this Lakshmi Chand himself. So immediately the judge says, okay, we have to go right away. We cannot let this Lakshmi Chand go, and he may play some games and change some evidence. All of us can go right away. So the Lord also goes with them straight to Lakshmi Chand's office, and exactly as the Lord said in the yellow file, because Gopal Das did not remember this yellow file where he had written. So the Lord, everybody was able to see this particular yellow file, and exactly what the Lord had said, all the transactions were there. Exactly what Gopal Das had said, all the transactions were there. And it is said, immediately the judge, and then the house document came back to Gopal Das, and then this judge quit the job on the same day, and he went on pilgrimage, and nobody knows what happened to him after that. And this girl, if you go back what we had started 10 minutes, 15 minutes ago, this pastime, this was an old lady who was giving the story. She's the daughter of this Gopal Chand, and this father, this Gopal Chand himself, nobody knows what happened to him right after that incident. Nobody knows. Obviously gone back home, back to Godhead. And there was a complete transformation of everybody involved in this incident. So Lakshmi Chand gave all his property to Vaishnavas and to the temples. He became a great Vaishnava. So everybody, all these corrupt lawyers changed dramatically because the Lord appeared there. And this old lady who was there in this parikrama path told this Goswami that even today I'm waiting. One of these days, Lord Krishna, tired after chasing all the cows, when he's so tired, one day I'm hoping that he'll come to my hut with this blanket on top, and he will say, please give me your cold water. Banke Bihari ji ki. Yeah. So this is a fascinating, there are many fascinating pastimes, but keeping time in our mind, we just heard a couple of these pastimes just to show how the deities reciprocate. So the deity form, Archa Vigraha form, is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how we can have this attachment to this deity form is by hearing these wonderful pastimes about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, about Lord Nityananda Prabhu, about the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu on a regular basis. So again, Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are here. They are not different from Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna. So what you see here, who you see here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who lifted the Govardhan hill and performed all these miraculous pastimes. So with that mood in our mind, they like one thing, and that is for us to chant the holy names of the Lord so that we can be getting out of this wheel of samsara, from this birth, death, old age and disease. So just on this day when we are gloriously welcoming them, let's satisfy them by chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by raising our arms. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna. So it will be incomplete.
Ananda Gauranga was a wonderful lecture. The small pastimes, it's very interesting. So I will talk in Tamil also. இன்னைக்கு வந்து இந்த விக்கிரக வழிபாட்டின் ஒரு பூர்த்தி, அதாவது வந்து பகவானை நாங்கள் இங்கே அவரை இங்கே வரவேற்கிற ஒரு நாள். இந்த வரவேற்க இந்த சிறந்த நாளில் வந்து நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணுறோம், பகவானுக்கு அபிஷேகம் பண்ணுறோம். அபிஷேகம் பண்ணி அவருக்கு எப்படி நாங்கள் ஒரு வீட்டில் வந்து ஒரு குரு வாராருண்டா அவருடைய பாதங்களுக்கு நாங்கள் போயிட்டு அவருக்கு நீர் ஊற்றி அவருக்கு பூக்கள் எல்லாம் போட்டு அவருக்கு உபச்சாரம் பண்ணுறோம். அதே மாதிரி தான் எங்களுக்கு இந்த கௌர நிதாய் ஆனந்த் சொன்ன மாதிரி கிருஷ்ணரும் பலராமும் இன்றைக்கி இந்த அட்சா விக்கிரக வடிவில் இங்கே வந்திருக்கணும். சாதாரணமான டெய்டிஸ் இல்லை, இந்த டெய்டிஸ் போகும்போது நான் இந்த தீர்த்த யாத்திரை போகும் பொழுது அங்கே என்னுடைய கைகளாலே, அதுவும் கௌர பூர்ணிமா அன்னைக்கு வந்து இந்த 2 விக்கிரகங்களை நான் வேண்டினது. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், அதாவது வந்து எதுக்காகன்னா இங்கே வந்து அது சொல்லக்கூடியது என்னென்னா, அதாவது வந்து நீங்கள் பார்த்துக்கலாம், இந்த யோகன் ஃபேமிலி எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு உதாரண புருஷர்கள். அதாவது வந்து பக்தர்கள் வந்து ஒவ்வொருத்தர் வந்து உதாரண புருஷர்களாக, அதாவது வந்து அவர்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு உதாரணங்களாக இருக்கணும் ஒரு இதில். அதாவது வந்து இவர்களை பார்த்துட்டு வந்தால் இந்த ஃபேமிலி, இந்த யோகன் ஃபேமிலி எவ்வளோ 1.5 வருஷம் இருக்குமா, 2 வருஷம் இருக்குமா, 2 வருஷம். 2 வருஷத்துல வந்து இவ்வளவு தூரம் அவருக்கு கௌர நித்தாய் அவருடைய வீட்டுக்கு வாரது அளவுக்குன்னு சொன்னா, அவருடைய இந்த பக்தியினுடைய தன்மை, அவர்களுடைய குடும்பம், அந்த 2 வருஷத்துக்குள்ள அவர்களுடைய ஆசீர்வாதங்கள், பெரிய பெரிய மகான்களுடைய பிளஸ்ஸிங்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் பார்த்துருக்காங்க. நிச்சயமாக எத்தனையோ மகாத்மாக்கள் அங்கெல்லாம் எங்களுடைய கோயிலில் வந்திருக்காங்க, பெரிய பெரிய பக்தர்கள் வைஷ்ணவர்கள்லாம் வந்திருக்காங்க. இந்த வைஷ்ணவர்களுடைய அந்த பிளஸ்ஸிங்கால தான் அவங்களுக்கு இந்த சாது சங்கம் அந்த அதில் கிடைச்சபடியாக அதுலேயே ஒரு சின்ன ஒரு பொறி, அவங்களுக்கு சின்ன ஒரு துவள்கள் மாதிரி கிடைச்சபடியாக அவங்களுக்கு மேற்கொண்டு இந்த இப்படியான இந்த பெரிய பாக்கியம் கிடைச்சிருக்கு. அதாவது செக்கனம் அவரு சொல்கிறார், நான் இந்த யுகத்தில் வந்து நான் வந்து அட்சா விக்கிர, அதாவது வந்து எந்த வடிவில் இருக்கிற சங்கீர்த்தன யக்ஞியில் இருக்கிறேன். அந்த சங்கீர்த்தன யக்ஞ தான் இது ஹரே கிருஷ்ணா 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 ஹரே ஹரே, ஹரே ராமோ ராம ஹரே ஹரே. இதை விட வேறு வழியே கிடையாது, எங்களுக்கு கதியே இல்லை. இந்த கலியுகத்தில் வந்து இந்த அர்ச்சா விக்கிரக வழிபாடு விட சிறந்தது சங்கீர்த்தன வழிபாடு. ஆகவே எங்களுக்கு அர்ச்சா விக்கிரகம் உண்டு, சங்கீர்த்தனமும் உண்டு. ஆகவே அதால தான் நாங்கள் எல்லாரும் சாண்டிங் பண்ணணும். யோகன் பிரபு எங்களுக்கு ஏற்கனவே அவர் கொடுத்துருக்கார், மதர் எல்லாம் சாண்டிங் செய்கிறாங்க. யோகன் பிரபு, நைஸ் டு ஹியர் தட் யோகன் பிரபு இஸ் கிவிங் a big applause. He is standing. There are people I know. People are in Krishna consciousness for so many years, and who can do 16 rounds. So only the elevated souls can do that. Yes, we have to appreciate them that they did a good job, and then they are qualified to do the worship of the Lord. So once again, on the behalf of our Scarborough ISKCON, and we have to thank them to give us an opportunity to come here and participate in this program in the grand manner. And also we have to thank Ananda Gauranga Prabhu. It was a wonderful lecture. It's an amazing lecture. Thank you. I mean, Gauranga is professionally as an engineer, but see, the Lord's arrangement is also there, and he's going with all his lectures, his amazing lectures. If you go with this thing, and also he is managing so many things, but we silently, yes. And nobody knows what are the things they are doing. You know, they spent around 5 hours for that small program in our temple. You know, we have to thank them. You know, we don't know. Yes, we just come to the temple certain time, and we don't know how they spend so many hours. So once again we have to thank them. This is an example for everyone. You know, that we cannot be lazy. We cannot be lazy. We cannot be. We cannot have rest for after 8 hours. I finish my work, I come home and I have my rest and I have my food. No. So, but beyond that, we have so many things to do. Yes, and yes, Bhavita Mother is there. Then she's taking care of the deities, and you know, every night time Radha Gopi Vallava, Lakshmi Narasimha, Ukra Narasimha, they are taking night resting time. They get sweet. This is that made by Function Mother. So these are the things, you know, we have to, how we can engage ourselves in the service of the Lord. So these are the, and look at the Murari group. Give them a big applause. They are going to be the first opening singers in Bengali club. You know, Bengali clubs, they are the best people in chanting the holy name. Bengalis are the very best in it's a Mahaprabhu's traditions. You know, they are following the Mahaprabhu's tradition for 100% pure, and they are inviting them. Oh, we heard their programs. They are amazing. They are doing nice kirtan. So they are going to be the first people who are going to start the kirtan for 2. आनंद गौड़ी वैष्णव वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नमो ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे स्वपुण्यवतं राजन् विश्वासोने विजायते शरीर विद्या ज्योतिर्देवताहेका ताके जीता कृष्णा भारतोयमय गौरी बारो जीवो जाय स्वप्रसादं लीलोबाय सेनामित भावो श्री राधा कृष्ण गाओ प्रेमेदा कोशी चैतन्यताय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Gaura Madhusware, Gaura
Krishna